CBS 46 News presents Public Affairs on Peach.
And good morning to you and welcome to Public Affairs on Peach. I am Gloria Neal, and today we are going to take a deep look at women and heart disease because after all, February is Go Red for Women Month. And consider this, because heart disease, the #1 killer of women, it is more deadly than all forms of cancer combined. A lot of people do not know that. And here is how prevalent it is. You got heart disease kills approximately 1 woman every minute. And since 1984, more women than men have died each year from heart disease. And it hits African American women and Hispanic women even harder than white women. That's why it is so important that we talk about this topic, not only the statistics that I just shared with you, but what you can do to prevent becoming a victim yourself. And Emory University and the Morehouse School of Medicine are working together to explore the risk of heart disease and stroke among minorities. It is so very important, and that is why I am delighted to have Dr. Valerie Montgomery Rice with us, and she is the president and the dean of the Morehouse School of Medicine. And thanks so much for being here, because I know it is something that is near and dear to your heart as well.
You know, I was at a breakfast this morning, Gloria, and one of the things I know is that everybody has a story.
That is exactly right.
When we were listening to our speaker, Dr. Cooper, share with us, he said, don't listen to my bio about where I went to medical school, etc. Let me tell you my family history. And his family history really told us about why he's passionate about heart disease. All of us have a story.
Yeah, and that is so very true. Tell us about the work that Morehouse is doing with Emory University School of Medicine, because I know that there is a lot of good stuff that's going on.
So Morehouse School of Medicine is taking the lead on a grant from the American Heart Association with Emory. And it is called MECA because it's looking at Morehouse School of Medicine, Emory, and we're talking about health equity. But for me, it is really a story about resilience. What we're really trying to understand is, let's not focus on the people who have the disease. Let's focus on the people who don't have the disease. The people who have the same risk factors as this person who got the disease. What is it that made this person not have the disease? What is the resilience factor that kept them from having the disease? Was it the way they lived?
Right.
Was it the decreased stress in their life? Was it their social networks? Was it because they had some other risk factors that actually protected them? And so we're looking at what's resilient about these people.
And so can I call you Dr. Val?
You sure can.
Okay, so Dr. Val, bring it home for me though, because most people, they'll watch this and they'll say, well, okay, well, how does that translate into helping me if I'm struggling or if I'm trying to be healthy? Break that down and say, how does it help me understand how not to get it by dealing with people who may be much older than me, who live in these tough circumstances, who don't have it? How does that help?
So one of the things, we gather more information, and then we collect that factual information and try to correlate it and translate it to these risk factors. And what we get to be able to do is to give people a prescription about things that they can control. Now, there are some things you can't control. You cannot control your family history.
Right.
You cannot control your gender.
That's right.
And typically, you cannot control your race and ethnicity.
That's right.
Okay? But what you can control is whether or not you get a good night's sleep.
Right.
You can control whether you exercise 30 minutes a day. You can control sometimes, depending on where you live,
Right.
eating healthy vegetables and eating foods that are not so high in saturated fats.
Right.
So we want to talk to people about those things, but then there's some other things that we know that matter. Social networking matter. Now, I'm not talking about the social networking on the Facebook all the time or the Twitter account.
Right, right.
I'm talking about those networks that really give us the opportunity to express who we are, to decrease our stress, to decrease our cortisol level. For some people, that networking occurs in church. For some people, it occurs when they exercise, when they have groups of friends that support them. These are the type of things that we are studying. You can't always put an objective metric onto it,
right.
but we know that it definitely does impact a person's stress and possibly impacts their risk factor for cardiovascular disease.
And so in essence, this study might really reveal that there is something tangible to be said about faith.
Oh, for sure, for sure. For many people, faith is something that decreases their stress. It allows them to reach a place where they can tolerate. You know, it's also about how you view life, right? For some people, stress occurs because they don't see the glass half full. They continue to see it half empty.
That's right.
So what are the things around you that give you the perspective that that glass is always half full versus half empty.
That is, ooh, honey, the doors of the church are now open.
Right, we here. And that's what,
That
you know,
is
we're
true.
about at Morehouse School of Medicine. So when we talk about leading the creation and advancement of health equity,
Right.
which is our new vision statement,
Right.
we're talking about more than just finding out the risk factor for this disease or giving this person this intervention. We're talking about a holistic view of giving people what they need, when they need it, and the amount they need to reach their optimum level of health.
That is true, and that is something, here's something else, because what is the Morehouse School of Medicine doing to achieve that health equity? I mean, you talk about what Georgians' healthcare needs are, because they are vast, and the need is great. How do you reconcile those?
So there are 4 ways in which we believe that we're going to be able to lead this creation and advancement in health equity. First will be who we educate and train. We have a history, a 40-year history of educating and training healthcare professionals that the nation needs. They go back and they practice in underserved areas. They choose primary care. The second will be what type of research will we do? We will delve into research that does not appear to be the traditional type of research because we want to understand what those resilience factors are. It would be a matter of who we collaborate and partner with. We're looking for partners who are equally interested in creating health equity. That is why we're partnering with Emory and Georgia Tech and the American Heart Association and other entities that are interested in creating health equity. And fourth, it would be how we engage the community. So we don't go to the community and say, this is what you should do. We go to the community and we first listen. We have a level of engagement. Because we are of the community, as my mother would say. We are of the community.
That's right.
And so what we want to make sure is that we understand what they believe that they need. And then we take that back and say, how do we modify what we can provide in order to meet their needs?
That's exactly right. Oh, that is excellent, excellent. Stay right where you are, because we are definitely going to pass along more important information about women, about heart disease, and when Public Affairs on Peach returns. You do not want to miss this.